This video is your long distance relationship killing you. Oh, are we allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't know. This video all started about 3 days ago when I saw a commercial on TV and it said that seniors living alone with low social interactions were at a 32% higher chance of having a stroke. And that's pretty high and it's pretty scary for a senior living alone. But I also was thinking about the bigger problem in those numbers. How does that apply to people in long distance relationships? We all know that making friends tends to happen in your younger life, before you're 20. When you get into your 30s, 40s, and 50s, just like me, you have a really tight knit circle of friends that doesn't change. You lose some friends, obviously, through natural causes over the years. And if you're in a long distance relationship, those friendships are not built back. You become, and I've said this before in other videos, on my other videos on Facebook, you become incredibly socially isolated in a long distance relationship. You're still young, you're not a senior, you're still young. But you have an amazing amount of social isolation. And people say, well, I go to work, I go to the store, I do this, do that, do the other thing. That's actually not the same. I've done some research into this week. Going to the store is not the same because you don't have that social connection when you go to the store. Unless you go around the store hugging people, and it's probably not advised. You'll probably have the police called on you if you walk around the store hugging people. But you don't have that social connection. And at work as well. Work is just an in and out thing. It's a process. It's a thing you go through. Work is not your life, and it's not a social connection. So when you're in a long distance relationship for work, you have now put yourself at an incredibly high risk for these horrible issues like strokes, like heart attacks, like all these other things that is all people face. You are facing them head on. And if you ask me, with all these people working remote these days and all the increased amount of long distance relationships and this increased level of, shall we say, disconnection. You may say you have friends and stuff, but if you have friends on Facebook that you don't actually meet, they're not really your friends. There's this disconnected society we live in these days, and it's making us more socially isolated, and that is going to lead to some big problems in the future, I think, especially for people in long distance relationships. Into those numbers a little more, it's actually very scary. People who are suffering from chronic loneliness, basically they do not have a physical interaction with somebody once a month, i.e. they're living away from their spouse, have a 56% higher chance of a stroke. Wow. 56% higher if you live away from your spouse. That's just, that number is just scary on its own. Research actually put some details behind this. It says that in a long distance relationship you go through psychological buffering. So basically your brain acts like you're in a relationship, but you don't get any of the benefits of being in a relationship. You don't get lower cortisol. You don't get improved health because you can't get the hugs. You can't get the hugs. You can't get touched. You can't touch someone through a phone screen. You can't hug someone through a phone screen. Cortisol raises. That causes all kinds of problems in the body because human beings are social animals. That is how we existed. That is how we survived, basically. If you think about a lion versus a human, I'm going a little off the topic here. If you think about a lion versus a human, well, the humans no match there. Lion's going to eat him. Done. Okay, simple as that. Now, if you think about 20 or 30 humans versus a lion, now the humans have a chance over the lion. That is how we evolved. That is how we survived. That is how we became, the number one animal on this planet, basically, through social cooperation. That social cooperation now, because of technology, unfortunately, and partly because of long distance relationships, is now falling apart. If you're in a long distance relationship and you need help, you're not going to have much social cooperation. Okay, you can drive yourself to the hospital or whatever if it gets really bad, but there's no social cooperation. There's nobody helping you do things around the house. There's nobody helping with this, helping with that. It is all on you. And as an animal, we are meant to be social animals. We're meant to be social animals with a big social structure. And that social structure is really starting to dissolve through modern technology. No, your Facebook friends are not going to give you hugs and they're not going to help you out. They may send words of encouragement once in a while, but they're not going to help you out. They're not going to give you hugs and that kind of stuff. It's not going to socially help you in this world. We are meant to be, in close knit social groups and not spread all over the world with our spouse 7,000 miles away. Um, so yeah, I can understand why our bodies are doing this because we are doing things now that simply our bodies were not meant to do. Now, what does this mean if you're in a long distance relationship? Is the next question. What on earth do you do? I would say limit your long distance relationship. Okay, set an end date on it. I have an end date. I'm not going to discuss it on this video, but I have an end date where when I get to that point, I'm going to say, no matter what, I'm ending the long distance part and I'm moving in with Rosalou. Simple as that. That is. I have a time. I'm hitting that time, and no matter what circumstances are going on at that point, I don't really care. The long distance relationship has to end at that point, and I have to move in with my wife. I am time limiting the long distance relationship. One, because I know it's bad for your health, and two, because it sucks. Okay. It's bad for your health and it sucks. And there's lots of evidence I've pulled up this week that says long distance relationships are bad for your health. And if you stay in them long enough, you're going to have a gosh darn stroke and then the relationship will end automatically because you'll be buried. I'm not going to flower things up. That is the way things are. Okay? Second thing, take care of yourself. Use these medical devices we can all have now. Take care of yourself. Get regular doctor checkups. Go to the gym. All that stuff. That is really just delaying the health effects, let's just say. We cannot bypass the fact that we are social animals and we're meant to have social interactions with other human beings, loving social interactions with other human beings every single day. That doesn't happen at work, that doesn't happen at the store, that doesn't happen going about your day to day life. That happens when you're in a family. When you are not in the family, when you're not physically connected to the family, bad things happen to your body over time. It's as simple as that. How do you fix that? Going to the gym and taking medications and seeing a doctor regularly and all the other stuff we're supposed to do is going to help. It's going to help, but it's not going to fix it. A long distance relationship is kind of like going into space. You're not supposed to be there, okay? And the sooner you can get down, the better, okay? Simple as that. Now, while you're up there, take care of yourself, eat healthy, act healthy, do all the right things, but understand that you have to come down. Otherwise, you are going to die in your long distance relationship. It will kill you. Period. Life will kill you. Period. That's the truth. But you know what? A long distance relationship is probably going to shorten your life. That's a reality of the situation. We can't fly backwards and forwards forever. We can't, stay at the end of a phone screen forever. At some point, we have to say, enough's enough, because this is going to do real damage to my body. And I think we're only just sort of starting out in this research. I think we're only just starting to learn that, okay, social isolation is a big problem for elders and it causes strokes. I think now we're going to dig deeper into that and we're going to say, okay, modern life and this technology barriers we put up and long distance relationships are also now going to be leading factors of strokes and heart attacks and other cardiovascular problems we have going on. So Yeah, you can delay these things by going to the gym and seeing your doctor, but at the end of the day, you have to eliminate what's causing them, and what's causing them is the lack of social interaction. Now, I think if you're in your 20s and you have a big group of friends and you hang out every weekend, you're probably okay. But I think as you get older, and if you get older and you're in a long distance relationship, just like myself, then you could potentially have some very serious health problems coming right at you, and you won't know until it hits you on the head. Now, I'm not a doctor. I've just done a lot of research this week into this. I'm beginning to realize that, yeah, this is, we could have, in the future, we can have very serious problems with long distance relationships and the health problems they cause, and the social isolation that's caused by Facebook and it's and other social media channels. And it's really weird the social media platform is causing social isolation, but it is, because you don't need to hang out with your buddies anymore. You just need to pick up your phone and start scrolling. But that does not have the same effect on the body as actually hanging out with your buddies and having a good time. And that's the problem we face, and that's, I believe, that is also what's causing, we've seen this rise in depression in young people, and there's been some research into it. And I believe also that increased social media use and less time hanging out and playing and having fun with your buddies is actually causing that increase in depression in young people as well. So wow, we got a double whammy. We could have depression in the young people, under 20s, and in the people older like myself that are in long distance relationships, we can have a much higher risk of strokes and things like that. It's not a good picture. Maybe, we need to revert back to the old days where we lived in loving communities, where we knew each other, where we had face to face communication, where we gave each other hugs, where we shared each other's tears, and where we truly loved each other face to face.